Great. So thank you so much again for making time to join us tonight. My name is Elise Rudolph. I'm the Director of Online Admissions and Recruitment here at UC Berkeley. And I'm joined tonight by my wonderful colleague, Stephanie Nguyen. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you so much, Elise. Welcome everyone and thank you so much for making the time to connect with us today and attend this workshop. If you haven't connected with me yet, again, my name is Stephanie Nguyen. My role here is the Online Education Recruitment Manager, and what I serve in this role is supporting you with learning more about the program and also supporting you with the admissions process. So I'm excited to host this with Elise, and we'll get to it.
All right. So tonight we're going to cover a little bit of kind of basic information about the program. We want to talk about our mission and our vision here at the Online MPH program. And then we're going to talk about, the value and purpose of your statements. Why are we asking you to write these two essays? What value do they add to your application? And we'll discuss the two unique statements that you are required to submit, your personal history statement and statement of purpose. And we'll talk about how they differ from each other and some tips on writing them. And then we'll leave you with some final do's and don'ts. And again, we'll make time for Q&A. All right, so our mission here at the UC Berkeley Online MPH program is to extend Berkeley's reach to improve population health, especially for the most vulnerable, and provide the tools to address pressing public health challenges of our time. And we do that through offering an innovative and transformative online learning with rigorous and interactive curriculum. We also do that by offering flexible education that aligns with the needs of working professionals. And we do this by empowering public health change makers to improve health where they live in real time. So the UC Berkeley Online MPH program is one of UC Berkeley's longest standing online programs. We've been around, I think, going on 13 years now. So we've been around for a bit, long before the COVID move to online education. And it was absolutely a values-oriented decision to make the MPH program, the Master's in Public Health program, accessible online. And it's because we really believe in the transformative power of folks making an impact in the communities you're already a part of. We understand that many folks are working full-time, that they have families, you have responsibilities you're already balancing, and it can be such a huge barrier to have to put those things on hold, relocate to the Bay Area, and do a full-time on-campus program. So we want to acknowledge that you are equipped and you are already making impact in your communities, in your jobs, in your networks, and we want to offer you the opportunity to do this rigorous UC Berkeley, prestigious program while you're balancing your other life responsibilities without having to move all of those things. Yeah, so that's really what we're about, our purpose, and we think that'll create better public health outcomes worldwide.
So our values, in alignment with our mission, are to serve you with these key points here. So service and community, showing up with authenticity, growth rooted in justice and equity, cultivating connection through learning, and most importantly, centering wellness. Above it all, as we see the type of work that you're doing, it's really important to ensure that there is balance in your professional, your personal life. And we do this to ensure that we meet all these key points throughout the program. And we're excited to serve you.
Absolutely. And now we're going to transition into talking about your essays. So those two essays or statements that you'll need to submit as part of your application to our program. So the statement of purpose and your personal history statement are two of the most valuable aspects of your application. And the reason I say that is because it's really an opportunity for you to use your own words to tell us who you are and what your goals are. So it's an opportunity to introduce yourself, to share your lived experiences, and explain why you're seeking a master's in public health. Now, I've mentioned before, there's two different essays, and a lot of folks very understandably confuse the two or want to understand how they're different. And your personal history statement essentially allows us to see beyond your academic qualities. We want to see you as a potential graduate student. So it's your opportunity, again, to tell us in your own words about your life experiences and how those contribute to your preparedness for the program. Your social, intellectual, and cultural diversity are all ways that you can be prepared for the program. So this is an opportunity for you to tell us how your lived experiences have uniquely prepared you socially, intellectually, culturally for a graduate program here at UC Berkeley. And your statement of purpose allows us to better understand your interests, specializations, and career goals that relate to public health and your fit for the program. So your statement of purpose is a little bit more about where do you want to go? How is this program going to get you there? What are the specific qualities that our online MPH program offers you that will help you achieve your future goals and the things you want to accomplish in that public health space. So that's sort of how to think about the two. But again, we really can't overstate how valuable these statements are in your application. There's so many parts of your application, like your transcripts, that are fixed, right? That's there's not a lot you can do to change that. And it's sort of a two-dimensional document, your transcripts, things like that. But this is really an opportunity for you to paint a picture of who you are, your journey, and where you want to go. All right. I'll pass it back to Stephanie.
Thank you. So the personal history statement checklist, a great way to start your essay is to be able to break it down to make it a little bit easier in terms of cohesiveness. So what we like to recommend is to have an introduction, set the context to your story. In addition to that, we think it might be beneficial to have a body that includes relevant experiences that Elise had mentioned. Some of these things can include barriers, experiences, and exposures that have contributed to shaping you into the person that you've become today, who you are today, and prepared you to pursue public health academically, professionally. And it's important to also use this space here to address any concerns, gaps. If you're reapplying to our program, this is a good opportunity to talk a little bit about that, your reentry and improvements that you've made that really show your growth and your motivation. I like to look at your personal history statement as an opportunity to reflect. So this encapsulates a lot of those key points here. And as a conclusion to your essay, it should leave the reader with a better sense of your unique journey. No one else has your pathway but you. You've experienced this, and there have been motivating factors, but essentially when it comes down to it, you have your own journey and no one else can speak it better than you. And moving forward, this workshop is going to include examples of our students that have graciously allowed us to share what they put in the application. So we want to make sure that you can see a picture of what our students included in their essays. But I want to preface this that your writing does not have to exactly be just like this. Your story can be a little bit different, but this is intended to give you inspiration and to give you a sense of what we've seen in our review process to help you kind of think in terms of introduction, body, conclusion. So walking you through this, I'll read this out loud and I'll give you a little bit of a breakdown of why we think this was a really great statement here. I was born and raised in Hong Kong, where I spent all of my childhood and adolescent years. At the age of 19, I moved to Canada to pursue my undergraduate and postgraduate education. Upon graduation, I decided to remain in Canada because of the country's favorable work and political environment. My parents are retired government employees. My brother is 4 years older than me and has a PhD in chemistry. He currently owns and teaches at a private tutoring school in Hong Kong. My brother and I are very close, and he is the model who I have always looked up to growing up. My core values are heavily influenced by my family, elementary school, and high school. My parents were baby boomers, and I did not have the opportunity to pursue, um, and did not have the opportunity to pursue university education despite graduating high school with good grades. Therefore, when it comes to schoolwork and academic achievements, they have always had high standards for my brother and me, hoping that we could pursue higher education someday and reach our potential. Throughout my life, my parents have inspired me to be diligent, conscientious, and persevere. And it is this inspiration that has motivated me to always do my best in any task that I take on. And I really like this statement here. It's a great way to open up the context of where their history begins, their journey begins, and also who and how they're motivated by, right? Like who has pushed them to instill certain skill sets and traits that they have um, continued on to have and use that in their daily lives. So this applicant helps the reader make a connection to their lived experiences, their interests, and who and what inspires them to persevere and strive for their best in a cohesive way. So we can start to see and follow along with that. And I think they did a really great job here. Moving on to the body. When I was deciding on the field of study for my university education and future career, I did not choose the areas that the majority of my cohort chose. Instead, I followed my interests and I chose speech language pathology, despite it being a highly uncommon choice among my peers. Whether it is learning a new language, studying vocal classical music, singing in the school choirs, or practicing my Chinese and English calligraphy, I've always found great satisfaction and enjoyment in appreciating art and culture through language. And I'm very grateful that I'm able to pursue a career in something that I'm passionate about. And what I really love about this here, the application shows a strong sense of confidence, self-awareness as they're exploring academic and professional pathways, and overall passion. And what it sounds to me here is that they chose a road that is not necessarily common within their peers, but this is something that truly speaks to what they value and what they are curious about. I think one of the things in public health is that a lot of folks come into this space at a later point in life, but also have a lot of connections, sometimes through adolescence, through professional years. It's at different points, but they're always curious. They're always lifelong learners. There's always some sort of connection that has signaled to them. I have an interest in this space and I'm going to pursue this. And being able to indicate in this body here that connection, but also give us a little bit of, I would say, an interest in other aspects that make them who they are. So it's not necessarily public health specific here, but it gives you a little blend of other elements that, again, showcase who they are, what they value, what they're passionate about, is really helpful in the personal history statement because you are more than one area in your life. You represent so many different values and interests, and I think they did a great job of putting that all together in the body. The personal history statement closing. As I developed my career in speech language pathology in the public health setting, I have enhanced my knowledge not only within my professional scope, but also in healthcare systems overall. I have also been very fortunate to work with highly skilled and experienced healthcare professionals who have generously shared their vast knowledge. In Chinese literature, there is this proverb: when you drink the water, think about the source. Because working in public health has helped me grow as a clinician and as a person, I am dedicated to giving back to the public health community by advancing my knowledge and making positive and meaningful differences in this field. So what this applicant does here is that they demonstrate maturity and an interest in strengthening their knowledge and public health training to continue their work and positive impact. And this right here, this closing, I start to see where speech language pathology ties to public health and what they start to think about in terms of how they want to develop their skills. So that becomes that signal into the connection of public health. And I think they did a really fantastic job here because this starts to segue into their statement of purpose, where they can start to narrow down the specifics of their concentration, which Elise will talk about a little bit more, and what they want to do. But as you can see in this personal history statement, what we gathered from this is their motivating factors. It stems from their family, it stems from their own curiosity and love for learning, tying their own interests, and focusing on just what they want to do despite this being a little bit different from their peers, and also giving us a segue into how speech language pathology ties into public health. And from that point, we will move into the statement of purpose. So I'm going to pass this along to Elise to talk a little bit more about.
Wonderful. Thank you, Stephanie. Great. So your statement of purpose is the second essay that you will write. We've provided a little checklist on things you might want to include or consider including. So you can ask yourself the questions, what in your background, history, training, and or experiences have led you to pursue graduate training and or a career in public health? What are your eventual career goals in the public health profession? What condition and or population do you want to work with? At what level do you want to make a public health difference or impact? Why do you personally need a graduate degree in public health? Why public health specifically as opposed to other types of graduate degrees? Especially there's a range of graduate studies in health sciences. So why public health? Why do you need a public health degree now? What stage are you at in your career or in your life that having a master's in public health would make the difference for you? How would it elevate your training, career experiences? You can talk about why you're applying to this specific degree program and your area of concentration, which is always a good idea. You can talk about why the UC Berkeley online MPH program. This is also a really important factor. Why our program, what stood out to you about UC Berkeley's online MPH program. And you can demonstrate that by referencing things like classes that interest you, faculty research that interest you, any areas where you feel you have some synergy or alignment with our program are great to call out in your statement of purpose. And remember that everything included in your essay should be directly relevant to how you will be a successful student in this program. So, at the end of the day, you want to keep your audience in mind, and the audience for this essay is the admissions committee. And so at the root of this, it should be, a statement, arguing for why you should be in this program, why it's the right move for you, why it's the right place, the right fit, all of that. So you want to ensure that your essay is really drawing that connection and not just like being left up to the admissions committee to figure out. Oh yeah, and I see we have a question. Yeah, Jasmine, go ahead.
Hi, I was just wondering, will the same person be reading both essays, or should they stand on their own?
Yeah, great question. So it will be the same group that reads both essays. But that being so yeah, so they will have like your background information, but we can't ensure the order that they'll read them. Because sometimes the application might just populate one essay before the other, or sometimes folks start reviewing an application the night before and finish it the next morning. So, I do think it's important that they are standalone enough that someone can get it, they can understand kind of what is the start and ending of one piece versus the next. But yeah, they will review both.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully that answered your question. Great. All right. So let's get into some examples. And I'll read out the example and then we'll talk about it the same way Stephanie did. So in the 9 years that I have been a speech language pathologist, I am fortunate to have had the opportunity to work in various public clinical settings as well as private practice. While having such a broad clinical experience has refined and enriched my clinical skills as a speech-language pathologist, it has also opened my eyes to the importance of creating a public health system that on one hand ensures inclusiveness, equality, and easy access, and on the other hand is efficient and cost-effective. The clinical population that I work with most frequently are people with communication disorders as a result of acquired brain injuries or degenerative neurological conditions over the years. I have come to appreciate how these communication impairments impact not only these people's day-to-day functioning, but also their ability to advocate for themselves, their safety in their community, and their ability to access public services, including healthcare. Unfortunately, the awareness within the healthcare system and of the general public of the struggles of this population continue to be limited. Rehabilitation services and community support for people with communication disabilities are currently far from adequate with knowledge of healthcare finance and policymaking. I'm hoping to advocate for this population on a larger scale in realistic and practical ways. So this is a great example of an introduction for a few reasons. One, the applicant described their experience. So, the folks reading your application, they will have your resume, but it's so important to kind of elaborate on your experience in your essays, especially if it connects, if your work experience connects to your motivation for getting this degree. So this applicant does a really great job kind of highlighting that they've been working with this population for several years, and they are highlighting the things that they've observed in their role that have really led to their desire to want to pursue public health. They're also talking, this applicant was applying for health policy and management. And what I think is really great is you can tell they're applying for health policy and management, even without that being here on the page. So they've named specifically how they want to advocate for a specific population, and they want to do that by looking at healthcare finance and policy making. So they've really demonstrated kind of their interest in the concentration that they're applying for as well. All right, so here is an example of the body. To gain a more comprehensive understanding of the healthcare system, I have recently taken up the position of care management coordinator in addition to my job as a speech-language pathologist. In this new role, one of the recurrent challenges I have encountered is having to secure a safe discharge destination for patients who either cannot return to their previous residence due to their injury or do not have a home prior to admission. After suffering a major injury or illness, it is without a doubt that having a supported and therapeutic living environment to return to is crucial. This will help maximize recovery and quality of life, but also lower the risk of readmission to the hospital. However, with inadequate community support and the housing crisis in my city, this has been proven to be extremely challenging for these patients. For our homeless patients, not having a fixed address may also preclude them from accessing certain medical or therapy services. Therefore, I have developed a strong interest in advocating for increased temporary and long-term housing support for individuals recovering from major acquired illness or injuries. So again, the applicant is doing a really excellent job here of connecting their passion with why they're applying to the degree and their experience to why they're applying to the degree. So they're talking about a very specific population that they've worked with. They're talking about a very specific issue that they have experience working with, and that they want to gain more knowledge and education on so that they can be a better advocate for that group. So they're really demonstrating again, what is all the things we mentioned in the checklist, is the specific population they want to work with, and how they want to create an impact, at what level they want to create impact. And they're making a case for why this degree is necessary for them to make the impact that they want to make. All right, so At my workplace, I have also had the opportunity to participate in quality improvement projects, such as securing funding for new medical equipment, redesigning the patient scheduling system, and optimizing patient flow. For these experiences, I have come to understand that one of the pivotal steps in advocating for increased services for any clinical population is to demonstrate that the efficiency and capacity of the current system have been maximized. This has inspired me to start contemplating our current practices and identifying potential room for improvement, adapting long-established practices to be more contemporary and cost-effective, simplifying convoluted procedures, ensuring human resources are utilized appropriately, etc. With additional knowledge in health policy and management, I will be able to contribute to my profession and our healthcare system in efficiency enhancement, which in turn will help pave the way for aforementioned advocacy work. In summary, given my experience with and dedication to public health on top of my strong academic background, I believe that I am a suitable candidate for the online Master of Public Health program at the University of California, Berkeley. I am confident that by completing this program, I will be well equipped with the knowledge I need to pursue my career goals as stated above. Yes, so a really great conclusion. I think they have done an excellent, this applicant has done an excellent job tying it all together. They reiterated the other areas of impact that they want to make. They've reiterated that having additional knowledge in health policy and management through this program will give them the skills that they need to create the impact that they want to create and to do their work in public health better. So that's really important. And I really appreciate that this applicant included that final line at the end saying that their experience and their dedication would make them a strong applicant, because again, your audience is the admissions committee and you really want to tell them why they should admit you. And so I appreciate that this applicant does that at the end of their essay. All right, so we want to leave you with some final do's and don'ts for both essays. So sort of some tips and tricks to keep in mind, just generally for your writing. So do reflect on your experiences and draft out your initial brainstorming thoughts. This is an excellent tip. We highly encourage that you do some brainstorming, and you can do that in a variety of ways, but for both essays, do a little bit of brainstorming, talk to some people in your life to help think of some ideas or experiences you want to reference. Use public health prompts to guide your responses. So definitely use the essay prompts to guide your responses and continually come back to those prompts as you're writing. Like truly, I encourage you, after you write each paragraph, look back at the prompt and say, does this paragraph answer the prompt? Do that throughout the writing process as well as at the end, to ensure that your essay is really focused on what we're asking you to respond to. Research our website to find out what motivates you to apply. So looking at our faculty, the classes that we offer, the concentrations we offer, it just gives you more to reference when you're talking about, why this program and how it aligns with your goals. Have 1 to 2 readers offer feedback. This is excellent advice. Highly encourage you to have at least 1 to 2 folks who read your essay and give you some feedback. Ensure your writing is clear, concise, and again, coherent to the prompts. Remember that your personal history statement and statement of purpose have different prompts, so it's not the same. They should be distinct from each other, and ideally, they shouldn't have a ton of overlapping information. And then you'll want to use Arial or Times New Roman font size 12. Now some don'ts. You don't want to repeat your resume by listing out your experiences. So it shouldn't just be a list of jobs that you've held. It is, as we showed in the examples, it is fine to sort of expand on a particular experience that you feel is relevant to your interest in pursuing public health, or if you're referencing a specific work experience in the workplace that has prepared you for a graduate level program, that's completely fine. It's completely fine to illustrate specific specific on the job experiences you've had, but this shouldn't just be a reiteration of your resume. Don't be vague about your interest and reasoning for wanting a master's in public health. I think this is a really good one. And the way I like to talk about this is essentially you don't want to leave anything up to the imagination for the admissions committee. You don't want them to have to draw the connection between your experiences and why you're choosing to do a master's in public health. You want to make that abundantly clear throughout both essays. Yeah, again, don't assume the readers will make any connections on your behalf. Don't forget who your audience is, and don't rush the writing process. The fact that you're all on this call tonight is a testament to your preparedness, which is great. It's never too early to start writing. This is a perfect time to start working on these essays if you're planning to apply in January.
So there are some important dates that we want you to keep in mind as you're working through your application. If you're considering fall of 2025, we have a priority deadline to submit your application, which is January 5th, 2025. The final deadline to submit your application, if you don't meet the priority deadline, is March 2nd, 2025. And if you're thinking about spring of 2026, there is not a priority deadline, but we do have one general application deadline, which is August 3rd of 2025. So you have the choice to decide which option works best for you. If you're unsure, you can always connect with me via email or book a one-on-one advising appointment, and we can talk this out to figure out what works best for you. We have some events coming up, so if you're getting further into the application or maybe have just started it and have no idea what the questions mean, check out our online MPH application clinic, as Elise and I will go through the contents to ensure you know exactly what the questions are asking for, what you can skip, what is required to fill out. So we'll walk through that process there. And that will be Wednesday, November 20th at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And if you'd like to keep in touch with us, sometimes we have exciting updates through our LinkedIn or our Instagram. You can follow our socials through Linktree here. Thank you so much for just making the time to connect with us for this workshop. I hope that it's been helpful.
Thank you all.
Have a great evening, everyone. Thank you.